What's your best story that is 100% real but nobody believes you? I was in Sao Paulo, Brazil, on a business trip. The night before departure I wanted a drink but the lounge of the hotel was closed for a private party. I didn't want to go out of the building alone at that time, so I started talking to one of the private guards. Then this lady came closer and asked if there are problems. I explained her I was hoping to get a drink but didn't want to bother. She started talking in a very good English. I can speak enough Portuguese to get by but am definitely not fluent, and explained me it was a party after a wedding. She was older than me, probably late 40s but very good looking. She asked me if I wanted to join her upstairs for a drink and she brought me to her room. We spent 30 minutes banging on every possible surface until she told me she had to go back to the lounge. I asked her why the hurry and she told me she was the mother of the bride. I felt like in a MasterCard advert. When I was about 16 I was in a restaurant in Melbourne with my cousin. I noticed a young guy eating with his family. I said to my cousin, hey look, it's Harry Potter, because of his similarities to Daniel Radcliffe. My cousin replied, that is Harry Potter. He was in Australia shooting an Aussie film. A bit later I went to the toilet to pee. Whilst I was at the urinal, Daniel came in and began to pee in the urinal next to me. I looked over at him and we made eye contact and he said nice one, finished, washed his hands and walked out. No one has ever believed this and only my cousin can vouch for the fact that we saw him but not for what he said in the toilet. TLDR, Daniel Radcliffe, Harry Potter, told me I had a nice wand whilst we were urinating next to each other. About 7 or 8 years ago I was really into humorous wiki vandalizations and thought it would be funny to claim that kiwi fruit were once called Harry Bush fruit. I modified the page on kiwi fruit to say so. I cut and paste some random Chinese characters from elsewhere in the article and put this in, Harry Bush fruit mamugwa. Since then, it has been repeated all over the place and currently returns 61,000 hits on Google. It has been printed in The Guardian, http://www.theguardian.com/comment-is free/2010/july/29/and-praise-of-the-gooseberry, which means it is now a 100% verifiable fact and will quite likely never be removed from the offending article. It is a kind of scary implication. The Guardian journalist that wrote that article should have noted that Wikipedia was used as reference, but didn't. There could quite easily be other circular references like this, where a journal repeats something incorrect lifted from Wikipedia and publishes it, which then means the incorrect fact can be referenced in the press. On the way to visit a friend, my husband and I got lost on a highway in Pennsylvania. By some weird chance, my husband's friend drives past us in the opposite direction. We see him and turn around to catch up to him. Finally pulling over, we are standing on the side of the road, 2-lane highway, discussing the directions to the friend's house. Surrounding us are farms with corn and other various crops. Out of nowhere, a duck appears on the opposite side of the road. He is looking at us curiously while we are talking. We watch him look both ways and waddle across the road to where we are standing. Cars are honking at him as they attempt to drive past. He gets over to my husband, pecks at his shoe once, and then promptly walks back across the street, dodging cars traveling at highway speed. He made it back across the street and disappeared into the crops. He risked his life to peck my husband's shoe and simply waddled out of our lives. A boy in my high school was into supernatural stuff and he claimed he had somehow seen me in my bedroom. He described in detail what I was wearing. Everyone thought that I was in on it. I wasn't. When I was 15 years old I was in my kitchen, home alone, cutting a pineapple. There was a fly that was buzzing around my face for the past 2 minutes and it was getting really fucking annoying, so, just for the heck of it, out of pure blind rage, I grabbed my knife and swung it at the fly in mid-air. I sliced the fly in half. Sliced it, in fucking half. After I did that, I immediately realized no one would ever believe me. I got a call from a police officer telling me if I didn't pay some old fines within a week he would come arrest me. The total was $267.63. It was about 2 weeks before Christmas, so I was really sweating it. The very next day I got a check in the mail for $267.63 for overpaid child support throughout the year. Craziest, most unexplainable thing I've ever had happen to me. No one ever believes me. I was 8 years old and my babysitter was 16. My parents worked extremely late, overnight, so she often slept over. One night she decided to sleep in my bed. I asked her to show me her boobs and she did and told me I could touch them. She also was only wearing a thong. It's probably borderline sexual assault or something, but I didn't care. I was the only 8-year-old that had asked to see tits and received. I looked her up on Facebook recently and she is a beast. I saw the DVD logo hit the corner of the screen. Was walking home when I was 16 and a car pulled up behind me. Inside were 4 guys in balaclavas and a gun pointing out the window. The gun went click. So I fucking bombed it over a hedge and ran like hell to the sound of some guy yelling, "Wait, we're not going to harm you." Edit, since so many people are asking, not likely a prank. Nope. Friendly neighborhood terrorists. Either the IRA or UVF. Probably the IRA. I once was walking and listening to music when I found a $20 bill on the ground. The song that was playing was Money for Nothing. I've posted this before. I received 100 plus comments and messages saying that shit's not true, but it is. I was in high school. I'm at a friend's house party. My girlfriend got belligerent drunk. I'm struggling to enjoy myself because I was barely buzzed and she was being annoying. She won't stop talking about how horny she is. I just want her to pass out, but she's having none of it, won't take no for an answer. We go upstairs into a bedroom and start hooking up. She throws me onto the floor, gets underdressed like Jim Carrey on Bruce Almighty, and turns off the lights. She rips off my clothes, straddles me, and says, "You're gonna love this shit," as she lowers down. It doesn't even feel good, she's making all these noises like a savage, but there's just too much friction, I wasn't feeling it and I'm about to tell her to get off of me. She lets out this noise that sounds like a combination of a deep cough and a hiccup. I'm like, "Babe, are you alright?" She lets out a Hurricane Katrina-style levee smasher storm surge of explosive diarrhea all over me. Apparently we had been doing anal and she lost control. So here I am, covered in Jaeger bombs, Taco Bell, and oppressive feces while in my friend's little brother's room. I try to fight off the traumatizing shock which I'm in. Someone needs to clean this shit up quickly. Luckily, everyone else was downstairs. I cleaned myself off with my undershirt and walked into the upstairs bathroom to find cleaning supplies. There was Resolve and Febreze there. I took those to the room and did the old pat down and scrub. Most of it came right up. The carpet was this ugly grayish color which made things a lot easier. I put my undershirt, and her shirt we used to scrub, in a plastic bag that I found in the bedroom. I popped the screen out of the window and threw it into the backyard. The coast was clear in the bedroom except this putrid smell of rotten whale blubber. I left the window open and sprayed basically the whole bottle of Febreze everywhere like I was a hitman cleaner. We walked downstairs. I told my friend that my GF threw up in the room, and that he shouldn't let anyone go in there tonight before it airs out. Volcano ass and I walked outside, got in the car and drove to the street adjacent to his house. I walked in between houses to get to his backyard, hopped his fence, and retrieved the bag of deceit, sorrow, and teen anguish. TLDR, my first experience with anal was without my knowledge. It lasted for 30 seconds until my girlfriend had explosive diarrhea over my pelvis and torso. This was in my friend's 8-year-old brother's room. My GF did not apologize, it hurt my feelings. When I was in elementary school, my brother and I were walking home from school after it had rained all day. He started reaching his hand in all the puddles. I asked him what he was doing. Sometimes there's money in these. 3 or 4 puddles later he pulled out a $20 bill. Not sure if he ganked it from somewhere else and planted it or it was legit. Either way. I now check puddles for treasures when there are no witnesses. Another one, I was watching a minor league game and asked Deion Sanders for a hello, that was it. He waved me off and I was about 7, and somehow, what a prima donna came out of my mouth. The look on his face when he stared at me was priceless. Fast forward and he is ending his career with Dallas and I am waiting for a flight out. He has a huge posse holding up the line, so I yell, "What prima donna is holding up the damn line?" His posse parts and he looks at me and then a hint of recognition hits his face, and he goes back to talking to the ticket lady with a quizzical look on his face. How I ended up with my dog. I was on my way to the bus when I saw this dog calmly walking about. He approached me, I petted him a bit, and went on my way. For some reason he kept on following me. There were other people around us, but he kept on walking behind me. The bus station is by a busy street. I hoped to shake him off by the time I got there, but no. I wasn't sure what would happen if I got on the bus. Would he run after it? Would he hop on the bus? The stop I intended to hop off on is another heavily trafficked place. Neither of the options looked good, so I did the only thing I could think of. I headed home. On the way I called my dad and told him a dog was following me. He laughed, thinking it was my way of trying to skip school. He went along with it though, promising to drive us to the nearby dog shelter. Imagine his surprise when I come home with a dog. So, we drive to the dog shelter, or we have to turn him in. A week or so later we get a call saying that no one had claimed the dog or reported him missing. My dad wanted a dog, different breed though, but seeing as this fellow had followed me around he figured, well, this is the dog. And that, kids, is how I met my dog. This http://imager.com/loadubcb is him. When I was little, my younger brother and I were always staying with babysitters during the day. This one time, we were with the same babysitter for a few months. As soon as we got to her house, I would hang me and my brother's coat on the coat hangers that were strategically placed right before the basement stairs. My brother was too little to reach the coat hangers, so I would have to hang his for him. Well, one day he got this stubborn idea that he wanted to hang his own coat. I remember being nervous, but I let him try anyway. He picks the hanger that is the closest one possible to the top of the basement stairs. As he is on his tiptoes, struggling to reach the hanger, he all of a sudden falls over and down the basement stairs. The babysitter heard him crying, then accused me of pushing my baby brother down the stairs. She told my mom about it later. To this day, no one believes me that I didn't do it. I would never hurt my little brother.